Hello everyone, hope you all are fine. So today I am again with you all to continue with our chapter Poverty as a Challenge, NCRT class 9th Economics. So hope you people know very well that I have already started this chapter before. So today we are going to continue with this particular chapter only. So as we move ahead, we need to understand what we are going to start today. We are going to start with the global poverty scenario. So hope you all have completed the revision of the previous part. So let's continue with this part. Now, global poverty scenario. See, globally the poverty is different with the different in each and every different countries. It's not same at each and every country. Now, why it is so? Because of their obviously income, right? Economic status. Now, if I'll say that in America, having car and bus or whatever they possess, like a big house, is a normal thing, but in India it's a luxury, right? So it depends. Like in America, if somebody doesn't have a car, so that person considered as what, a poor person. But in India it's not so, it is luxury, right? So it depends on each and every country's economic status. Now the thing is that let's begin the topic global poverty scenario. The proportion of people in different countries living in extreme economic poverty, defined by the World Bank as living on less than $2.15 per day, has fallen from 16.27% in 2010 to 9.05% in 2019. So this is basically the data which they have provided us to understand that the poverty, though we know that the poverty is a big problem to each and every country, to each and every society, but mostly the countries, those are developing in stage, right? But according to World Bank, they have given the data that it is reducing. Okay, so although there has been a substantial reduction in global poverty, it is marked with a great regional differences. Poverty declined substantially in China and Southeast Asia, Asian countries, as a result of rapid economic growth and massive investment in human resources development. Number of the poor in China has come down from 2.1% in 2014 to 1.2% in 2015 to 0.1% in 2020. So this is basically the data which they have provided, under with the help of which we people can figure out that how much the ratio has been reduced, right? In the countries of South Asia, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Afghanistan, and Maldives, whatever you call it, the decline has also been seen. Okay, it's been seen. So also been rapid 12.8% in 2017 to 10.9% in 2021. With the decline in the percentage of the poor, the number of the poor has also declined significantly from 233 million in 2017 to 207 million in 2021. So these data are very important, because if you are writing these data in your answers, so definitely your answer will be beautiful, and even whosoever the examiner will be checking the answers, definitely if you underline these data, they will understand that, oh, okay, this child or this person has some X factor, with the help of which he has mentioned all these data, because these data are very crucial and important. Now, apart from this, the people, those who are preparing for the competitive examinations, if you people go through these data, definitely in your examinations such as the Navodaya examinations or Kendriya Vidyalaya or some other examinations which where this chapter is relevant, these data plays very these data plays very crucial role, because in each and every questions you might get in each and every set you might get some of the questions from here. So better you people plan accordingly. Now, because of the different poverty line definition, poverty in India is also shown higher than the national estimate. You people can go through this data, okay, which is given here, which is actually taken from the Economic Survey 2021 Government of India 2021. So according to this, you people can see that different poverty ratio in selected Indian states, okay, as per 2011 census. So it is in Bihar, that is 33.7%, Odisha 32.6%, Assam 31.9%, Madhya Pradesh 31.7%, Uttar Pradesh 29.4%, Karnataka 20.9%, West Bengal 19.9%, Maharashtra 17.4%, Gujarat 16.6%, Rajasthan 14.7%, Tripura 14%, Tamil Nadu 11.3%, Haryana 11.2%, Delhi 9.9%, Andhra Pradesh 9.2%, Punjab 8.3%, Himachal Pradesh 8.1%, Kerala 7.1%, All India 21.9%. So basically, you people can see in Kerala, the poverty ratio is very less. It's 7.1%. Whereas if you'll see Bihar, it is 33.7%. So you people can understand that which state is having more, they are more prone to poverty. Okay. Now, in sub-Sahara Africa, poverty in fact declined from 36.6. It is in the global context they are explaining. So, in sub-Sahara Africa, poverty in fact declined from 36.6% in 2017 to 35.4% in 2019. In Latin America and Caribbean, the ratio of the poverty has increased. My goodness, it has been increased from 4.4% in 2017 to 4.6% in 2021. Poverty has also resurfaced at 3% in 2000 in some of the former socialist countries like Russia, where officially it was non-existent earlier. Table 3.2 shows the proportion of people living under poverty in different countries as defined by International Poverty Line, means population below $2.15 a day. The new Sustainable Development Goal of the United Nations proposes ending poverty of all types by 2030. So here you people can see percentage of population below $2.15 a day. Okay, Nigeria 30.9, Bangladesh 9.6, India 11.9, Pakistan 4.9, China 0.1, Brazil 5.11, Indonesia 2.5, and Sri Lanka 1.0. So you people can go through these datas. Okay, now here you see the share of people living on $1.90 a day, 2005 to 2019 data. So here South Asia, you people can see the South Asia's graph, Latin America's graph, Sub-Sahara Africa, East Asia, Pacific, and China's graph. Hopefully you people can get through this. Okay, when you'll be reading the entire chapter once again, you people have to go through these graphs so that you people can understand each and every concept in a very clear way. Next. Okay, if I am speaking very fast, better you people, reduce the play speed to 0.5. Hope you people will understand the entire chapter easily. Here you see more graphs. Okay. Now, causes of poverty. Now, what could be the causes of poverty? This is very important, question. What could be the, causes of poverty? Actually, it depends. It differs. Okay. So, there were a number of the causes for the widespread poverty in India. One of the historical reason in the low level of the economic development. So, economic causes there. Okay, low level of economic development under the British colonial administration. So, we people know very well that how they have ruined India, and how we all are facing till the date the aftermath of that. So the policies of the colonial government ruined traditional handicraft and discourages the development of industries like textiles, that we all know very well, that whatever they have taken from us, they have taken the raw material, and they have they you can say sell those manufactured product to us. As they have taken the raw material from us and they are giving us the manufactured product, obviously the people got the taste of the western products, and slowly, or you can say gradually, the handicraft and the other traditional uh, things have got ruined. The low rate of the growth persisted until the 1980s. This resulted in a less job opportunity and low growth rate of incomes. This was accompanied by a high growth rate of population. The two combined to make the growth rate of per capita income very low. The failure at both the fronts, promotion of economic growth and the population control, perpetuated the cycle of poverty. So basically, it is all about the economic development and the high growth rate of the population. Okay, less job opportunities and many more aspect which actually promoted poverty, which actually causes poverty. So with the spread of the irrigation and the green revolution, many job opportunities were created in the agricultural sector, in the primary sector, but the effects were limited to some part of India, because each and every corner they have not got benefited na. So the industries both in the public and the private sector did provide some jobs, but these were not enough to absorb all the job seekers. Unable to find the proper jobs in cities, many people started working as rickshawala, vendors, and they did lots of work such as domestic servants and all. With the irregular and the small income, these people could not afford expensive housing. They started living in the slums on the outskirts of the cities, because obviously they did not have the money. Okay, as they did not have the money, in that case, what they did, they started to live in a slum. So, juggies, slums, okay, these are actually the small hamleted settlement which grew outside the cities, and the problem of poverty increases. So largely a rural phenomenon also became the feature of the urban sector. Another feature of the high poverty rates has been the huge income inequality. One of the major reasons for this is the unequal distribution of land and other resources. Despite many policies, we have not been able to tackle the issues in the meaningful manner. Major policy initiated like land reforms, which aimed at redistribution of assets in rural area, have not been implemented properly and effectively by most of the state governments, since lack of the land resources has been one of the major cause of the poverty in India. So underline these lines because these are very important. Proper implementation of policy could have improved the life of the millions of rural poor. So this is one of the major problem, land reforms. Many other socio-economic and social cultural issues are also there. So and economic factors also are responsible for the you know poverty. In order to fulfill such social obligations and observe religious ceremonies, people in India, including the very poor, spend a lot of money. Small farmers need money to buy agricultural input like seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, etc. Since poor people hardly have any savings, they borrow. They used to borrow. They used to ask from the money lenders, or you can say the big landlords. Okay, unable to repay because of the poverty, but they used to be in the debt trap because of the you can say they cannot repay it. Sometimes the production also was not good, so they became victims of indebtedness. So the high level of the indebtedness is both the cause and the effect of poverty. Now, anti-poverty measures. So anti-poverty measures, how to eradicate this poverty from the society. Basically, eradication of poverty has been one of the major objectives of Indian development strategy. The current anti-poverty strategy of the government is based on two planks. What are those? Promotion of economic growth, targeted anti-poverty programs. So basically these two are the two main government oriented, government based, you can say, planks which help in the current anti-poverty measures. So over a period of 30 years lasting up to the early 80s, there were little per capita income growth and not much reduction in poverty. We have already seen in the graphs above. Now, official poverty estimate, which were about 45% in the early 1950s, remained the same even the early 80s. Since the 80s, India's economic growth has been one of the fastest in the world. The growth rate jumped from the average of about 3.5% in a year in 1970s to about 6% during 1980s and 90s. The higher growth rate have helped significantly in the reduction of poverty. It means what? The poverty, as the development occurred, okay, economic growth occurred, due to that only the poverty has been reduced. Okay, so the higher growth rate have helped significantly in the reduction of poverty. Therefore, it is becoming clear that there is a strong link between the economic growth and the poverty reduction. Economic growth widens opportunities and provides the resources needed to invest in human development. This also encourages people to send their children, including the girl child, to school in the hope of getting better economic returns from investing in education. However, the poor may not be able to take direct advantage from the opportunities created by economic growth. Moreover, growth in the agriculture sector is much better expectations. It means what? The agriculture sector, the growth there, people expected. This has a direct bearing on poverty, as a large number of the poor people living in the village. We all know very well that huge number of the population of our country is working in the agricultural field. They are part of primary sector. So as they are developing themselves, so gradually the poverty is decreasing, and basically the people live in village and they are dependent on the agriculture. The direct bearing on poverty emphasis on them only. So in these circumstances, there is a clear need for the targeted anti-poverty programs. Although there are so many schemes which are formulated to affect the poverty directly or indirectly, some of them are Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act 2005. We all know about it, where people are getting 100 days work, okay, 100 days work of wage employment to every household to ensure livelihood security in rural areas, which enable them to get the proper amount of the basic needs, right? So it also aims at a sustainable development to address the cause of drought, deforestation and social erosion. 1/3 of the proposed job have been reserved for women. We all know very well for that. We all know very well the scheme provided employment to 220 crore persons, person days of employment to 4.78 crore households. The share of the SC/ST women person days in the scheme are 23% and 70% and 53% respectively. Now, the average wage has increased from 65 in 2006-7 to 132 in 2013 and 14. Recently, in March 2018, the wage return or the wage rate for unskilled manual workers has been revised. State-wise, the range of the wage rate for different states and union territories lies in the between 281 to 168 per day. Now, Prime Minister Rozgar Yojana, PMRY, is another scheme which was started in 1993. So it is before Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. Okay, because Prime Minister Rozgar Yojana has been already started in 1993. So the aim of the program is to create self-employment opportunity among the people for educated unemployment growth. Youth in the rural areas and small towns. They are helped in the setting up small business and industries. Another one is Rural Employment Generation Program, that is REGP, which was launched in 1995. Means after Prime Minister Rozgar Yojana. Okay. Next is the aim of the program is to create self-employment opportunity in rural areas and small towns. A target for creating 25 lakh new jobs has been set for the program under the 10 5-year plan. Next is Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarozgar Yojana SGSY, which was launched in 1999, just after the Rural Employment Generation Program, okay, which actually launched in 1995. So Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarozgar Yojana. Sorry, again I am repeating the same thing only. Swarozgar Yojana, which was actually launched in 1999. The program aims at bringing the assisted poor families have the poverty line by organizing them into self-help group through a mix of bank credit and government subsidy. Okay, it means under Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarozgar Yojana, which was launched in 1993, self-help group, this was actually been made. Okay, under the Pradhan Mantri Gramodaya Yojana launched in 2000, additional central assistance is given to the state for basic services such as primary health, primary education, rural shelter, rural drinking water and rural electrification. Another important scheme is Antyodaya Anna Yojana, AAY, or Antyodaya Anna Yojana, which you will be studying in the next chapter. The result of these programs have been mixed. One of the major reasons for less effectiveness is the lack of proper implementation and the right targeting. Moreover, there has been a lot of overlapping of schemes. Despite good intentions, the benefit of these schemes are not fully reached to the deserving poor. Therefore, the major emphasis in the recent years is on proper monitoring of all the poverty alleviation programs. Poverty has certainly declined. The challenges ahead. Poverty has certainly declined in India, but despite the progress, poverty reduction remains India's most compelling challenge. Wide disparities in the poverty are visible between rural and urban areas and among different states. Certain social and economic groups are more vulnerable to poverty. So, poverty reduction is expected to make better progress in the next 10 to 15 years. This would be possible mainly due to the higher economic growth, increasing stress on the universal free elementary education. We know very well the elementary education is now free in our country, and declining the population. The population is also not increasing rapidly, right? Though we have huge population, but still. Increasing empowerment of the women and the economic weaker section of the society. Sorry. The official definition of poverty, however, captures only a limited part of what poverty really means to people. It is about a minimum subsistence level of the living rather than a reasonable level of living. Many scholars advocate that we must broaden the concept into the human poverty. A large number of the people may have been able to feed themselves, but do they have education or shelter or healthcare or job security or self-confidence? Are they free from caste and gender discriminations? Is the practice of the child labor still common? Worldwide experience shows that with the development, the definition of what constitutes poverty also changes. Eradication of poverty is always a moving target. Hopefully, we will be able to provide the minimum necessary in terms of only income to all the people by the end of the decade. But the target will move on for many of the bigger challenges that still remain. Providing healthcare, education, job security for all, and achieving gender equality and dignity for the poor. These will be ever bigger tasks. So this was all about the chapter. Hope you people liked it. Please like, share, comment. And also I want to tell you people, as I have completed the explanation of this particular chapter, you people also go through this chapter well and try to understand each and every corner of this chapter. If you have any doubt, please comment down below or contact us through our Telegram channel. And hope you people will succeed in your life. Please stay connected. Thank you. Bye.